Yo, welcome back to a new video. This is a series where I read a chapter of a new book every single day, and I come and tell you guys exactly what I've learned so that you guys don't have to do the reading yourself. So, as you guys know, we're on Psycho-Cybernetics, and I'm about 18 to 20% of my way through this book, and I want to talk about my biggest findings today, and we're going to be speaking about the importance of self-image and how that actually impacts your external circumstances, right? So we're going to dig more deeper into humans and why we are the way we are. So, and using that to your advantage when it comes to getting what you want out of life, right? So, a couple of points I want to go through. The first point in the book is basically how the subconscious, right, the human subconscious is a goal-striving machine, and it's got like a built-in feedback loop, and it doesn't really care what the goal is, right? So when you think about animals in the animal kingdom, birds, they don't need a classroom to know when to migrate or to even migrate, right? Turtles, they don't need a classroom to know when to swim to a different, warmer oceans and lay eggs there, right? Same way for us as humans, we don't really need classroom to tell us to strive for goals. We naturally do it anyway. That's what separates us from all the other mammals, whilst their instincts are mainly survival based, right? Our instincts are based around striving for improvement. Like everyone has goals, whether you like it or not. Our whole existence, our whole biology is built towards improving yourself so that you can attract a higher quality mate. It's always around striving for a next goal, right? Now, what separates us from other animals is that we have imagination. We have imagination, and that's what actually helps us to be creative. We're the only creature that's actually creative, right? So when it comes to your mind and the subconscious, because it works purely off instinct, right? It works purely off instinct. We're all built in this way. It works for whatever purpose you feed it, whether that's positive or negative. Similar to as a man thinketh, the fruits that are going to grow from your thoughts, your actions, they're all based on what seeds you plant. So what's actually going on in your mind. And Psycho-Cybernetics has a really good point where you also like the drug addict has goals just as much as the entrepreneur does, right? They just have different goals. The entrepreneur might want to become a billionaire or financially free. But the drug addict might be like, listen, I want to make sure I get my next hit of dopamine. So they've got two different goals, but as you can see, the natural human state is a state of striving for a goal, all right? And as you can see in the instance of the entrepreneur and the drug addict, they've got two different goals because their mind is in two different places, right? So it's the same mechanism, it's the same target, and it's a constant feedback loop as well, right? When it comes to striving for that goal, it tries, it fails, and it adjusts the failure based off the feedback loop, and that's literally how you learn things. That's literally how you learn. So when it comes to your goals, right, in terms of imagining them, you imagine your goals and you have a positive or negative feedback loop when you try and do the actions towards them. Same way, for example, like a missile, right? You know those missiles, like when they kind of zigzag. Do you know why they zigzag? They zigzag because they've got like a negative and a positive feedback loop inside them somewhere on the missile, and it tells them how to correct, right? They get signals based on where they're going, and that's why they zigzag until they hit their target. Boom. And that's how humans are. The human brain works in basically exactly the same way. That's when you want to learn something new, you do trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, until you eventually you get the winning formula and you just keep going. But the thing to know is that the human mind always has a goal that it's striving for, always striving for something. So it's up to you what you want to put at the top of that machine. Like what do you want to feed it with? Negative self-image, negative thoughts, or positive thoughts, thoughts of empowerment. Because similar to like, the thermostat kind of theory, right? It's like you can't rise higher than what you see yourself as. You can't rise higher than your self-image. If your self-image is to be a bum, someone who's not really, striving for anything, if that's your self-image, you're not really gonna go anywhere, and you can't see yourself achieving past that. But if you flip the self-image and you have a positive self-image of yourself, you can actually see yourself achieving XYZ, getting in shape, having a successful business, having fulfilling relationships, because life's not all about money, right? But when you have a good self-image of yourself, you can picture yourself achieving a lot more, and naturally your mind subconsciously, whilst you're not even focusing, your mind will figure out ways to do that. But it all starts with your self-image, because that's what chooses and decides the thoughts that you're going to put into your head. So it all starts with self-image. Like that's the main thing. And it's hard, man. It's easier said than done, because self-image is built throughout your childhood. I'll be honest, like, I've been realizing that a lot of people don't really ever get to deconstruct the self-image that they built when they were a kid, and it follows them through adulthood, and you can see it. That's why adults have, like, sometimes when you meet someone, you're like this person's just a big baby, and you can tell, like, there's still so much that they haven't let go of, they haven't deconstructed, they've not tried to remake a version of themselves that they actually want to be. It's more of like, you let your environment just mold you, and you just accepted it. So it all starts with self-image. Think about the self-image you want of yourself, and the image that you're gonna need, who you're gonna become to achieve your goal, and you just work towards it. But it all starts with what you put in your brain. Like I said, the machine can't tell the difference between good and bad input. Right? Can't tell the difference between good self-image or bad self-image. It's just like a computer storing this information. Hence the name Psycho-Cybernetics. Right? The only lever that you actually control is what you constantly feed it. So, deliberately feeling positive, empowering self-image thoughts is what shapes the output. Because if that's what you eventually think of yourself, you're gonna act in accordance with that, and you're gonna figure it out. Whether you, let's say you have a positive self-image of yourself right now, right, and you don't know how you're gonna achieve that goal, you're gonna figure it out subconsciously. It might come to you when you're in the shower, when you're sleeping, but your brain is working in ways where it's like, okay, this is who I am. I need to be congruent with that. That's my goal. Let me go. Like, let me achieve it. Let me figure out how to do this. So that's my main takeaway for today, is it all starts in here, your self-image. That's what dictates what your goals are, and your inputs are in between. So like, comment, subscribe, and we're back again tomorrow for the next video.